Magistrate Darcy Duggans has been dispensing justice for more than 40 years, most of it from the courtroom in which Ned Kelly was found guilty of murder more than 100 years ago. Now retirement is looming for Victoria's chief stipendiary magistrate, who has sentenced thousands of people to jail during his time on the bench. But as Lee McCluskey reports, he's still on good terms with many of his clients.
Do the crime, you do the time, and they know what it's all about.
Most long-term prisoners at Pentridge know Darcy Duggans. He's the one that's put many of them behind bars.
He's down to earth as far as I'm concerned.
Have not always agreed with his decision, but respect the man for his decision. He's got a job to do.
If he thinks something's a little bit funny about a case, he'll sniff it out, and you can be sure you'll get the proper and just decision off Darcy.
Some I've had to sentence and some I've dealt with bail applications, and I would say this, if my memory serves me right, in every case it's been to their detriment. They've not won too many in front of me. Oh, how about this? What's this for? Oh, my God.
But today, no one was holding any grudges against the man they call Darcy the Beak. Mr. John Dugan, known as Darcy to his mates, who sat in judgment at Melbourne's Magistrates Court for the past 40 years.
Magistrates, by and large, I suppose, an occupation where they shouldn't start off wanting to be liked, but if anyone could say of me when I finished that I gave everyone a fair hearing, I'd be very happy with that.
But it's more than just his fairness that's turned Darcy into a legal legend.
The charge was one of possessing an offensive weapon. And it was a young boy, and the barrister got up and said, Your Worship, my client is one of 17 children. And Darcy said, crikey, sounds like his father ought to be on this charge.
Ross Stevenson is a Melbourne lawyer and co-presenter of the radio program Lawyers, Guns and Money.
We have a segment on our radio program, Beak of the Week, and we have received nominations for Darcy from prisoners following their trials in front of him, saying that I had this trial in front of this very funny magistrate, and here are a couple of things he said during my trial. Maybe you can use them for your segment.
When Darcy is on a roll, telling stories about his past in the courts, he is, I think, the funniest person I've ever heard.
Sally Brown is Darcy Duggans' successor. Next week, she takes over his role as Victoria's chief magistrate. And like every other lawyer in town, it seems, she also has a favourite Darcy story.
A young woman was in his court and wanted to be sent to jail. She wanted to join her friend at Fairley, and she'd done something very minor, and he fined her. And as she left, she said something very rude to him, and he said, "I beg your pardon, madam, what did you say?" And she repeated it, and he said, "Madam, if I had not realised you were talking to the prosecutor, I would have been very offended."
Something that just comes naturally, I think, and sometimes I wish it didn't come as naturally as it does.
And almost as famous as what Darcy says is what Darcy wears, notably his bow ties.
Well, there are some people around this town who think that they started the fashion, but I first bought a bow tie in 1952 when I was a very young fellow, and for a while I didn't wear them, because it was regarded, I came from Richmond, it was regarded pretty puffy to wear a bow tie, I can tell you that right there and then.
I thought you were Graham Kennedy.
Did you really? Well,
Looks like him.
can I tell you this, he's got more money than I. He's just as old and just as bloody silly, but he's got more money.
Not for long.
Is it?
But there is a serious side to Darcy Duggans. He's been a driving force behind a scheme called the Day in Prison program, where young offenders have a taste of the real thing without their time inside being recorded against them.
Out of about 2,800 people are in jail in this state, 1/3 of them are people who are under 25 years of age. And when you have a think about that, that's an enormous drain on the community. Now, this sort of program that I've been involved in, if it can stop that for 4 or 5 kids every year, well, I reckon it's succeeded.
I think a lot of people are very lucky to have such a man in such a job.
He's a unique man, you know, he really is, because he does listen to both sides of the story.
He's a true humanitarian.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. You don't often get a chance to talk with people who've been through the mill, so to speak, and to be accepted by them as being, as you said, a good bloke. Well, my God, that's something to me.
Yes, it is. Lovely sense of humour. Shame to lose him. Lee McCluskey reporting. Back with more in a moment.